Am I the a-hole for wanting to break up with my boyfriend of 6 months? Okay, so me, 23 female, my boyfriend, 32 male, have been together about 6 months. We met through a mutual friend and basically hit it off the moment we met. Great conversation, great chemistry, and he checked all my boxes for a partner. A little backstory. I met him about a year after leaving my relationship of 8 years. He had also just ended his marriage with the mother of one of his kids. He is too. I never saw a partner having kids as a bad thing. I've always loved kids and have always admired people who step up to raise kids that aren't their own. My stepdad, my step-grandpa, my aunt and uncle. Non-blood related to me, but all played huge parts in my life and have all raised kids that aren't theirs and are amazing, loving step-parents. When we met, I was living with my grandparents at the time because I had just moved across the country after I ended things with my partner of 8 years. I'm also a part-time student, and I work part-time. Between work, school, and studying, my plate is already full. When my boyfriend and I first got together, I'd cook and clean when I came over as a nice gesture because I can see his hands were full working full-time and being a father to 2 kids. He has full custody of the oldest and 50/50ths of the youngest. He would constantly bring up how nice it was whenever I came over. He would mention that since it's such a long drive from where I was staying with my grandparents to his house that I should just move in. I kind of laughed this off at first because we had been dating for such a short amount of time at the time. It was only 1 to 2 months. He ended up convincing me to move in, and at the time it sounded like a good idea to me. He told me we would have more time to spend together, more time to go on hikes together. I should also mention that I'm a very active person. I go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, hiking, horseback riding, or any physical activity that I could possibly do in my free time. When we first started talking, my boyfriend made it sound like he was into all of those things too, talking about how he was raised on a farm, how he just never had the time. And if I moved in, that me helping around the house and with the kids, it would free up more time for us to spend together. Fast forward, I moved in, somewhat against my grandparents' wishes. They think boyfriend is a good guy, but don't think that he's the guy for me. It's now been 6 months. I've been living here for about 4, and we haven't gone on a single hike, played a single sport, or done any physical activity aside from walking to the grocery store together. I brought up multiple times how physical activity and an active lifestyle for things that I need for my mental and physical health. Whenever this is brought up, he constantly brings up who we have no time, and that the gas money alone it would take to get to these things makes it not worth it. Mind you, whenever he does have free time, he spends it on the couch watching anime for hours at a time. Or on video games for, I kid you not, 6 to 8 hours at a time. All the while I'm left with 2 kids to look after, a house to clean, and dinner to make. Now my boyfriend is a good guy, he's a patient father and a kind boyfriend. But I feel like he is too stuck in his ways, or too comfortable with the life that he is now to consider my feelings and change. I feel like I have become some sort of replacement for his ex-wife or live-in nanny. It should also be a good time to mention he likes to make jokes about how a woman's place is in the kitchen, how cooking and cleaning is for women, and he only helps when we are having food that needs to be cooked on his outdoor grill, as I'm not allowed to touch it because he thinks I'll break. I was also under the impression when I moved in that he would be paying for all of the bills, the house bills and his bills. I pay for my own bills, being as how I make minimum wage and work 20 hours a week. I can barely afford my own bills, but lately he's been asking for me to pay $500 for rent. Mind you, this is half of my monthly income, and if I did pay it, I wouldn't be able to afford my own bills. I do love this man, and I don't want to abandon him with all of his responsibilities and raising his 2 kids on his own. I never put much thought into being a mother and always assumed that if it happened, I would be in a loving marriage with a man that has the same outlook on life as I do. Another thing to note, not only does he not live an active lifestyle, but he doesn't see it as important for his children to either. They sit inside all day on their phones and tablets, sometimes not moving from the couch or their bed for the entire day. It makes me sad, but since these are not my children, I have no authority to put them into sports or to take them to do any physical activity. I've noticed since moving in, my mental health has significantly declined, and my physical health is going down the drain. I don't know how to go about this, how to tell him I'm not happy, how to tell him that I love him but I am not in love with him any longer, or how to leave his 2 children that I have grown very fond of and love. I've already talked to my grandparents, and I'm welcome home anytime I please. Any advice on what I should do is more than welcome. I'm so sad and heartbroken that this wonderful, kind man isn't who I thought he was. I finally left him on October 1st and moved back into my grandma's house where I have been ever since. Life has gotten so much easier for me. I'm not constantly stressed, and I don't have to worry about paying a good portion of his rent/groceries anymore. He did try to get me to come back many times, calling me, texting me, how much he loves me, and how he'll never find another woman like me, and how I was his one true soulmate. I wasn't buying it. I stood firm in my choice, and life has been better. He texted me the other day telling me he slept with an ex-fling of his. She is older and known for sleeping with anyone who looks at her. He told me how disgusting he felt after and how he wished I didn't hurt him so much. Basically telling me it was all my fault he slept with her. Long story short, my life is amazing. Now he isn't in it. I've gone on 2 girls' trips and 3 solo hikes, and my smile has never been brighter. On to our second story. My mom admits she resents me for needing therapy when she started blending our family with her husband's, and I told her it was her job to help her kid. Am I the a-hole? My dad died because of a seizure when I, 17 male, was 6. My mom and I were there for the whole thing, and it was traumatic. Mom started dating again a year later, but she didn't meet her husband until I was 9. They dated for something like 5 months before they started doing stuff with me and his kids. I struggled hard with him and his kids' presence. For me, the hardest parts were changing things so that we had time for them and including them in the family. It bothered me worse when Mom wanted my paternal relatives to get to know them and treat his kids like they were more grandkids and cousins. For me, that showed in really weird ways. I wasn't sleeping good and having bad dreams. I was losing focus in school, and after a while I would puke whenever we were supposed to spend time with them. It wasn't intentional either, but I would get so worked up I'd puke a ton. My mom talked to me about it, and I got mad about her letting them take over our life, and I told her I hated how much we saw them, and I didn't want that, and they weren't my family, and they needed to stay away from Dad's family, and stuff like that. Mom walked away and didn't address it for weeks. I don't know how long it was exactly, but she was distant for weeks, and then she said she had decided to send me to a therapist. I did a few sessions alone with the therapist, and she included my mom in too, and then went back to just me. She spoke to Mom a few times and gave me a heads up in advance and asked if it was okay to share things I had said. I was fine with that, so she went ahead and did that. Over 2 years, I talked about a lot of stuff with the therapist and with my mom. I did different kinds of homework, and eventually Mom moved in with her husband and married him. She stopped trying to involve my step-siblings in my dad's family, and I stopped resenting them existing in our space at all. Mom agreed to doing 1:1 time with me and doing things to remember Dad on his birthday and Father's Day, but she never did those things. I agreed to spend time with her husband's kids to try and get along better, and I did for a while, but I stopped after a few months. Those things meant we lived together without fighting, but we didn't blend either. I accepted her husband and his kids were with us now, and technically a part of the family, but I didn't work on developing relationships with them individually. For the last 2 years, my mom has been open about resenting me because I needed therapy. She said she feels like it was a waste of time because we never blended. But she admits to resenting me for not just being happy for her and being an easy kid who was happy to have more family and embraced it without the added stress. I ignored her when she said those things for a long time because her side of the family would address them and remind her I wasn't her, and as a parent it was her job to make sure I was doing okay. The other night, she got really resentful after one of her husband's kids said something about not really knowing me. My mom asked me what she did to deserve the difficult kid, and the kid who needed therapy and couldn't be happy that his mom found love again. She told me I delayed her relationship because she had to do the right thing, and it didn't matter anyway because I stopped giving them a chance. I told her she broke her promises to spend 1:1 time with me and make time for us to remember Dad. She told me those were very different things, and I was making excuses. I told her it was her job to help her kid, and that resenting me for needing that help is shitty, and to still resent me for it is even shittier. Mom told me that wasn't supposed to be my reaction, and I'm supposed to feel bad for the stress I caused her and the delays to her finding happiness again. Am I the a-hole? For the last story, Am I the a-hole for making my stepdad cry when I told him we didn't choose him, Mom did? My parents have been divorced since I, 17 female, was a baby. They had me and my two older brothers, 19 male and 22 male, together. Custody of us was split equally, and we moved from Mom's house to Dad's house every week. When I was 4, my mom met my stepdad. She introduced him to me and my brothers when we were 6, 8, and 11. Things got awkward after that. My stepdad, before he was my stepdad, would come to my brother's football games or my school plays, and he'd get really weird at seeing Dad. I remember running to my dad after my school's talent show where I won, and my stepdad intercepted and picked me up to hug me, and when I didn't hug him back, he said he wanted a hug from his girl. I said I wanted my dad, and he looked annoyed that my dad was there to begin with. I hadn't known him that long either, maybe like 5 months max, so it was weird. I used to hold Dad's hand a lot back then too, and every time one of my brothers had a game during Dad's parenting time, my stepdad would get this furious look that I'd hold Dad's hand. A few times he tried to do the same, but I shook him off. One incident happened just before my mom and stepdad got married. He called me and my brothers his and Mom's kids. My dad rolled his eyes but didn't argue, and my stepdad accused him of showing disrespect and dismissing his role in front of us kids. My dad told him we didn't stop being his and Mom's kids because she'd moved on, and my stepdad called him an ass for pushing him out. Father's Day activities were weird because my stepdad wanted to do them all, and we just wanted to do them with our dad. My mom told us we should do something with our stepdad because he loved us and showed up for us. So we reluctantly did one thing a year with him. But then he would cyberstalk Dad and see we did so much more with him. One time close to Father's Day, my grandparents brought us all out for the day, and my stepdad saw Grandma take me to buy something for Dad. He assumed it was for him, and I guess he had a meltdown on Father's Day when he saw Dad post it on his socials. When I was 10, my mom ended up in the hospital for over a month with the flu and another infection. My stepdad wanted to take on Mom's custody, and Dad said no, and he told my stepdad we weren't his kids, so he didn't get to keep us in Mom's place. We didn't try to go with him either, and my stepdad blamed my dad and said he poisoned our minds against him. My stepdad was more aggressive afterward with trying to be the other dad. He insisted on doing professional family portraits and tried really hard to have me and my brothers standing around him instead of us being equally close to him and Mom. He insisted on our birthday parties at Mom's house being family parties and inviting all of his family. He started signing cards to us as Dad. My oldest brother said he even scratched out his name in cards we gave him and wrote Dad in. He insisted my brothers play tennis with him, and he insisted on being their trainer. He tried to make me do father/daughter dances with him, but I refused and always found ways around it. We did talk to Mom about our issues with all of that several times. Mom would always say we should cut him some slack and try harder to appreciate him and bond with him because he felt othered by us. She told my brothers they were always so rude to him, and that was not okay, and she told me I could be blessed with 2 dads if I give it a shot. I told her if he had his way, I'd only have him, and she said I don't have to let it happen but should see it as a sign of his love for me. Even him and Mom having my 2 half-brothers together changed. All of this is why I chose to live with my dad when I turned 16. I go to Mom's house for a few hours every month, but I don't sleep there anymore. And I don't stay long if things get weird. But they did last week. My stepdad brought up how he felt ignored and unappreciated by me and my brothers, and how my decision to live with Dad hurt him. Then he said that you would think we'd be more loving to the person we chose to add to the family, and I was like, whoa, no, Mom chose you, not us. That's when the tears started, and he told me I really wanted to crush his spirit by telling him that, and he was like, what I did to make you hate me that much? My mom was pissed that I said it and made him cry too. So I left and I didn't apologize. I don't regret it, and it's true. We didn't choose him. Mom texted a bunch to say I should apologize and I should make more of an effort because it's not fair that he keeps trying and none of us reciprocate. Does what I said make me the a-hole? We've come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more Reddit stories.